Hey, it's DanTheMan, and today I'm going to be doing a new video. This one, as you can see, is going to be about Jeff the Killer. Now I'm going to be reading the actual creepypasta itself, so this should be fun. There's going to be a lot of fangirls, to be honest, just screaming at this video. So, okay, so, I'm going to be starting to read this creepypasta, so, let's get straight into it. Jeff and his family just moved into a new neighbourhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighbourhoods. He and his brother, Leo, couldn't complain though. A new house, more space, a new atmosphere. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbours came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and my son." She turned around and called her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbours." Billy said hi before quickly running back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mum, "I'm Margaret. This is my husband Peter, and these are my two sons, Jeff and Leo." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. The two boys were about to object, and their mother happily stated that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done unpacking, he approached her about the matter. "Mum, why would you invite us to a random kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not just some dumb kid without any opinion." "Jeff," his mum reminded him, we should show that we want to spend time with our neighbours. It'll make it better for a better impression later on. Now we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff wanted to interject, but he stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mum said something, it became the law. No questions asked. He went up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when all of a sudden he felt something strange. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it just as something sporadic. Then he heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, so he clambered down to get it. The next day, Jeff hurried downstairs to get breakfast and prepare for school. As he sat there, eating his cereal, he once again had that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it, not mentioning it to anyone else. As he and Leo finished breakfast, they sauntered down the sidewalk to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, observing the scenery and passing cars. Then, from out of nowhere, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both leaped back in surprise, and Jeff exclaimed, "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed flawlessly and turned back to them. He kicked the skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid looked to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wore an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans, looking quite rebellious just from his attire. Well, looks like we've got some new meat." As if on cue, two other boys appeared beside him, also on skateboards. One was super skinny and the other was huge. The classic henchman duo. "Since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over here is Keith." Jeff and Leo looked over to the skinny kid, not knowing what else to do. He had a dopey face that one would expect a sidekick to have. "And he's Troy." And then they fixed his gaze on the fat kid, a walking tub of lard. He looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. "And I," announced the leader, am Randy. "Now for all the kids in this neighbourhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift." Leo stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when his two friends revealed knives and brandished them. "I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way." The kid walked up to Leo and took his wallet out of his pocket like he was simply getting his mail. A strange aura returned to Jeff. Now it was a truly strong, a burning sensation, and he stood up furiously. Leo silently pleaded for him to sit back down, but Jeff ignored it and marched up to the lead bully. "Listen here, little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else." Randy calmly put the wallet in his pocket and whipped out his own knife. "Oh? And what will you do?" Just as he finished his threat, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As the kid reached for his face, his wrist was broken in one swift twist. Screams echoed out as if Jeff took the opportunity to snatch the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith charged at him, but he was too quick. He tackled Randy to the ground as Keith lashed out at him with a right hook, where he ducked a blow and stabbed the thug deep in the arm. The shrimp dropped his knife and fell to the ground, adding to the plethora of loud shrieks. Troy then attempted to save his partners with a clumsy roundhouse kick, but it was all in vain. He was punched straight in the stomach. He felt like a mighty oak. On his way down, he left a trail of puke. Leo did nothing but look in amazement at his brother. "Jeff, how did you..." But he was unable to finish his inquiry, for the bus was approaching around the corner, and both of them knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing if they stuck around. The two of them started sprinting as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing frantically over to Randy. They barely made it to school on time. They didn't dare tell what happened. All that was done for the entire day was sitting quietly in class and listening to the teacher's ramble. He had just thought of the incident as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something frightening. When he thought about the feeling he had at the bus stop, he realized how powerful it was, and how it felt to hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but at the same time, he couldn't help but feel happy. The strange feeling once again faded away, and it stayed that way for the entire day of school, even as he walked home to avoid another bus stop mishap, and even though he'd probably never get rid of the bus again. He felt happy. When he got home, his mother was in the kitchen ready to greet him. "How was your first day of school, honey?" "It was a wonderful day." The next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He made his way down, only to find two police officers at the door, as well as his mother glaring at him angrily. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked the 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son." Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing her that it was true. "Mum, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Leo." "Listen here, young man," said one of the cops. "We found 3 kids who stabbed, and one having a large bruise on his stomach. And we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could have said that he and Leo had been attacked, but there was no proof to claim that it was not they who attacked first. He couldn't say that they weren't fleeing either, because in all honesty they were. He stood there motionless and remained silent. "Son, call down your brother." "No, Mum. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Leo tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner and nodded. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie for..." "Wait." Leo suddenly appeared holding a knife. The officers grabbed their guns from their holsters and locked them on the boy. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. I have marks to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, which were most likely self-inflicted, but were very convincing, as though he was in a struggle. "Son, just put the knife down," shouted the officer. Leo held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. Then he put his hands up and calmly walked over to the cops. "No, Leo, don't do this. I'm the one who harmed them." Jeff had tears running down his face, refusing to believe what was happening. "Huh? Well, bro, stop trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, go ahead and take me away." The police led Leo out to the patrol car. Jeff hesitated before suddenly chasing him. Leo, Leo, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids. He begged, but Mother placed her hands on his shoulders consolingly. Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. You all knew it was Leo, so you can stop now. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car sped off with his only brother inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad parked his car in the driveway. At the moment he saw Jeff's flushed face and puffy, watery eyes, he knew something was wrong. Son, what is it? He asked as he got out. Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were too strained from crying. Instead, his mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jack wept out on the front lawn. After an hour or so, he sadly dragged his feet back inside, seeing that both his parents were shocked, sad, and disappointed all at the same time. He couldn't glance for even a moment. He couldn't see how they thought of Leo, and it was really his fault. He just went to bed, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days passed by with no word from Leo at JDC, and no friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That was until Sunday, when Jeff was woken up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. "Jeff, it's the day," she proclaimed. She opened up the curtains to let the morning light flood into his room. "What's today?" "Why, it's Billy's party, of course.